Here's a good deathbed confessional story. Well, this is not from me. Unfortunately, I have no good, juicy deathbed confessions. So this terminally ill patient confessed on his deathbed that he killed his twin brother while they were both in the Vietnam War in Vietnam, took his identity, then returned to the U.S. as the other twin brother so he could be with his twin brother's wife. Him and this wife stayed together, had children. He never told anybody he was the other twin. Now, the story sounds crazy, and the children of this man say that he's delusional, he had dementia, and he made this all up. However, they found a written confession in an old Bible that he wrote. He wrote this confession a long time ago and put it in this Bible, and then they found it. So, I don't know. Now, I will say my source for this is BuzzFeed, so who knows, but it's still entertaining.
What is your family's deathbed confession? I'll go first. In 1997, my grandmother was dying from cancer, and a few days before she died, she told my mother, who was the only child from her first marriage — my mother has 3 half-siblings from the second — that my mother had a full-blood sibling who was a product of the first marriage. It turns out that my grandfather and grandmother had one last stand, if you will, and my mom's soon-to-be stepfather forced my grandmother to go live in the country and have the child on her own. The child was put up for adoption in the late 1950s, and when my grandmother died, we tried for a number of years to find this sibling to no avail, and we still have no idea where she is or if she's even still alive.
So, Confessions of a Mental Health Nurse, Part 1. So, in my long and amazing career, I've worked in some pretty wild and brilliant places. I've worked in A&E, I've worked in forensics, I've worked in CAMS, I've worked with older adults, I've worked them all. However, my favourite, absolutely favourite place that I've ever worked has to be prison healthcare. Dun 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 dun! Now, it's actually not as scary as what you think. I mean, I don't even know why I've used this picture because it's actually not what it's like at all. It's actually very well run, very structured. The prisoners are very well behaved because if they don't, they get into trouble, and it's just really not worth their while. So it's actually a very relaxed, albeit very, very structured and safe place to work.
She say, babe, I'm nasty, I say me too. While I fucking you in public, she say me too. She don't like using no rubber, I say me too. She wanna fuck me cause I'm thuggin', I say me too. Touching the top of your ass, popular view when I give it a smack. Make you say, ooh, when I hear from the back. Baby, don't run, put an arch.
Hey, and welcome back to part 7 of my grandmother's deathbed confession and the search for my mom's long-lost sibling. So this comment kind of highlights some of the challenges that we face, not being lineal descendants of the individual in question. That is to say, we are not direct descendants, children, grandchildren of this individual. So we can't actually submit requests for documents in the state of Ohio, it appears. Additionally, I did find the records from the search from 1997 and 1998, and I thought I would read something directly from them. So we have been advised by the Ohio Bureau of Vital Records that all original index and certificate information is deleted in adoption cases at the time of final judgment, and that without the adopted name, it is impossible to identify previous records. So basically, we know nothing about this person. We don't know their adopted name. All we have are pseudonyms or versions of my grandmother's name she might have used at the time. So we have very little to go on. Hey, so part 3 of my grandmother's deathbed confession story. I thought I would take this opportunity to say what we did and what we know. So immediately after my grandmother's death, when my mother was settling her estate, there was at least 1, possibly 2 independent investigations looking for this long-lost sibling. When I find the reports in storage, I'll post more. But we know basically 3 things. First, she was born female. Second, she was born in April 1957, plus or minus. And finally, my grandmother indicated that she was born in Ashtabula County, Ohio, or broadly northeastern Ohio. I guess additionally, both my grandparents were of Central European descent, so the child likely had fair skin, dark hair, and brown eyes. Aside from that, we really don't know anything else.